Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Oath Spring 2023 Overwatch. We've got an exciting matchup today. Ember versus Glitch. Ready to roll on Esperanza on our first match. And we got, absolutely, we got a couple announcements this week. We'll hold those for after. I'm Imperium. My name's Connor, and I'm here with Epi.
Yeah, hey guys. People should know me just a little bit. I've been around Oath for a long time. Unfortunately, Merp was not able to join us tonight, so I'm filling in for Merp. But don't worry, I'm probably just as much fun, maybe even more fun, according to some sources. Some sources would
Definitely.
say.
And this week we've had a few events happen. We got the player council was
Yeah.
revealed, I think, a first time for Oath this
hmm
last week. And, we've got our Overwatch representatives. We have Will and Lion Gamer representing Overwatch within that player council. Really excited for that. Definitely that great group there. Looking forward to the great things they're about to do with that.
Yeah, no, the player council is a really great opportunity for our kids to get involved in leadership positions within Oath, to really handle just the way everything works, to operate as part of our esports organization. So I'm really excited to see the impact that this council has kind of on the day to day, but also maybe some of our bigger events, things like finals will be a lot of fun. And Sleepy Tiger with event planning. You never know what's going to happen. She's really great too. So player council is really exciting. Kind of new thing, a new venture, if you will, for Oath.
Absolutely. Looking forward to seeing what they are able to do with it. And then this week we have other things going on. We've got our Reoth podcast on
Yep.
Fridays, I believe.
Yep.
Looking forward to that. And our Valorant matches are on Thursdays.
Yeah, no, two other great things going on a week to week basis, but the point of tonight is Overwatch. And without further ado, we are excited to go into our first map. We're going to be starting on Push. First map going to be Esperanza. Before broadcast, Connor, you and I were kind of talking about our favorite things in push maps, our favorite maps to play on, and it's sort of the way they work. And I know you were kind of just mild on Esperanza. I think Esperanza is a very good map. Go ahead and tell me what you
I
think.
I enjoy Esports, don't get me wrong, but I think in terms of the three push maps we have in Overwatch 2, it is quite literally a mid in terms of the order of maps that come through.
Yeah.
Colosseo being my personal favorite. You've got, the open sight lines and then the close fighting, a lot of back and forth action between both teams. And then you have like New Queen Street, which is a little bit more chaotic. There doesn't seem to be very many teams that know where to set up, how to play that. Um, and so you just have a lot of chaos as teams are rushing from spawn to spawn, just trying to get in a fight. Not much team fight there, it seems like, at least in most of the games I'm a part of. But then you have this map, you have Esperanza, which
Yeah.
is a bit different. I think it's kind of the opposite of what I just talked about in terms of that. It seems like there are several places to stage, and then several places that are just death zones.
Oh.
So your team.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
No, you're if you path incorrectly, you're in for a world of hurt. With the high grounds, the pressure that they provide, teams that win the high ground are more likely to win this map. But one thing I will say about Esperanza is that it's not as snowbally as, say, a New Queen Street, as some would say a Colosseo, which is one of the rather big concerns with a push map in general. So I think we're in for a really good one, and not to mention two really strong teams in Ember and Glitch, both of which have had Ember 3-0 right now on fire. Am I wrong? 3-0.
Nope, they're the only undefeated team we have. They beat Rush last week in what was the craziest match I've
Nail
ever
biter,
witnessed in
nail
Overwatch
biter.
history.
No, for
Absolutely
sure.
amazing.
So two teams that are really good. Glitch looking for their first win here today is going to be something to keep an eye on, as it looks like we have a little bit of a disconnect problem. So, not to worry, we will get this match started. We will have all of the fun things to say today, but checking in on the chat, I got some fans. Connor, I don't know if you check in on the chat.
Really.
I got some
I
fans.
should. Let me pull it up real quick. I should keep up a lot more with the chat.
No, it's
I get you
good.
caught up, especially in a game like last week.
Yeah, well,
And I don't think I was able to get anything else.
as the producer, I've got my eyes on chat at all times. So I definitely do see all of the feedback, all of the talk, the exclamation point casters, the two team names. It's always really fun to watch, see what the reaction of our audience is here. So know that you're valid and recognized, and I love it. Um, yeah, we miss Merp. I get it. I get it. We miss Merp. I get it. Merp probably has the biggest fandom, but whatever. Whatever. It's
Definitely
cool.
understandable.
Hey, if I was here every time, if I was in front of the camera, we might be talking about a different
Oh yeah, he's
guy.
crazy, and he's been doing it for a while too, right? I think.
Oh yeah, well, I've been with those since 2020. Just as old as First and Havoc, which are both clearly decommissioned Overwatch teams. So yeah, I'm kind of an old head, but not too bad here. As we're looking to get our players back in lobby, and kind of kick off this Esperanza map. Um, One thing I want to talk about is Ember and their team coach, Chicken Joe. Chicken Joe is probably one of the most recognizable coaches here at Oath because of the work he does with mental mindfulness. It's just another way that Oath is promoting health and well being within our organization. We talk about player safety, the mental health of esports, and kind of the ways to navigate through all of those different and challenging things. Which, as a former player, I know that a strong mental is just as good as a strong body, especially when it comes here to esports.
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna ask if you felt the same. Um,
Yeah,
right?
100%. I think Merp and I have talked about it quite a few times how important it is. You got to keep your mental focus. I myself struggle a lot with, getting pretty angry with some of the situations that get thrown at me, especially in a game as crazy as Overwatch. And, that can really make or break not just your own play, but the play of your team as well. Like if you have a teammate that's just kind of going crazy on the comms, then it makes it really difficult for you to focus on what you need to and just stay positive throughout that.
It's funny that you say that. I think I remember hearing Isaac, Linked Ghost, and Jackson Amnesia last Thursday. Uh, Isaac, it was like, I'm a rager, bro. I anything bad happens to me, I'm mad, and so it's funny. It's funny how we see so much of ourselves and others. But that's not to say that Chicken Joe's our only good coach. All of our Overwatch teams and Valorant teams are coached by high elo players, but also players with understanding of team games, the team setting, and have that bigger picture for esports. It looks like we're getting closer to back to the action, but to introduce Glitch's captain, Kronos. Kronos, if you've been around for as long as I have, Cronus and I actually cast Valorant back when Oath expanded into Valorant. So he and I have a really, they and I are a really good team. Kronos now playing for OSU, or not OSU, OCU on the Overwatch team. Um, and he's a nice guy, a nice person for sure.
He's pretty great at the game too. I believe he plays tank, but I could be wrong. We had a matchup with them not too long ago ourselves, and that was
Oh yeah,
really interesting.
did you guys have to play? Because you're on the JV roster at
Yes.
OSU, and OCU is in the same, right?
Yes,
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha.
I am part of JV at OSU and
Yeah.
have had a great time with that, but we do play a lot of varsity teams on other schools, so it gets really tricky a lot of times. Again, I think that mental plays quite a bit more into it, especially in a situation like that. But Kronos definitely got to see, the other team's side of that aspect, and
Yeah.
really great player, fundamentally extremely sound, obviously. Um, Definitely you can see a lot of it carry over into the players
Yeah.
on their team.
Okay. We are going to go to a short break, and when we return, it won't be me. This just in. Merp is here. Merp is in the building, everybody. So, without further ado, we're going to switch things over really fast and get back into the first map of our series tonight between Ember and Glitch, Esperanza, in just a few seconds. See you soon.
Welcome back, everybody. We are back this time with Merp here instead of Heavy.
Hey. We love Epi, but I am glad to be here, guys. I apologize. Had a little bit of a mishap with an alarm for a nap, and I'm here. I got up in about 30 seconds and was in the booth. Anyways, regardless, we are here for Ember versus Glitch. It's going to be our first match of the night, and I am excited to see exactly what's going to be happening. Been having a few technical difficulties in this evening, but I'm just glad to be here. How about you, Imperium?
Absolutely, 100% ready to rock and roll with this match. Super excited about it, and definitely looking forward to see what both teams bring out on this push map.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna be looking at it was Esperanza for our first opening map.
Mhm.
And Esperanza is not a map I feel like we see very often. Usually it's Coliseum is the favorite of the types for push. But Esperanza is very interesting because there are two very large middle rooms on either side, right? So push's maps are mirrored and it's a really long tug of war sort of style game mode. So on both sides of the map, there are two very large rooms that lead directly to enemy spawn doors, so that almost any time in the map, the enemy is free to contest, regardless of where the progress is for their enemy. In that instance, it becomes very important to choose where you want to take engagements, and it's always a look behind your back sort of thing because they can just come in from wherever. So I'm a really big fan of Esperanza.
Absolutely. We were just talking about that right before you got here, how important it is to hold the high grounds. Like you
Mhm,
said, there's two rooms on either side of where the robot starts, and then
mhm,
there's one big high ground right in the middle of all of it. And you mentioned the mirrored aspect of this map that really kind of makes it more of a balanced,
mhm,
really kind of doesn't really favor either side because of that mirroring, as long as you keep your positioning sound. We talked a
mhm.
bit on how this map is a bit more um, biased towards whichever team sets up better and has the opportunity to prepare themselves.
Yep. And I do definitely agree. I think those that are able to sort of find the defensive hold on a certain corner or just able to sort of because the area of engagement is telegraphed, right? So you're always going to know that the bot is going to be that the fight is going to be wherever the bot is, maybe slightly ahead of it, but eventually it's going to be where the bot's at. So there's not this whole like we're gonna hide here and wait for the enemy to attack. We're not gonna hold this corner and camp it out while the enemy tries to push forward because eventually the enemy will push forward regardless. So the whole idea is to get set up on your corner first so that you as a team are prepared to strike when both teams meet on end.
Absolutely. And
Oh man, hydrate the casters already?
wow,
Oh
we're
man,
starting off
I feel
strong.
spoiled. I just got
Absolutely.
here. I don't deserve this. Love you guys.
Thank you so much for that. But yeah,
Thank you, thank you,
definitely
thank
to
you.
build onto that. It really comes down to this map being not very forgiving on the aspect of where you come in. There are several areas of this
Mhm,
map that if the other team is in one place and you're in
mhm.
another, you lose 9 out of 10 times
Yep.
during those fights. So it's really important to stage where you want to, set up your team, get ready to engage that fight, which makes it really interesting when playing with, you have to push the robot, so someone has to be moving it while the
Mhm.
rest of your team has to be somewhere else. Or, you all fight on the robot and most of the time probably just die. So a lot
Right.
of interesting strategies come out of this map especially. We were talking about, comparing this map to the other two push maps like Coliseo or New Queen Street, and kind of how that plays out in each different map. But I think this one is the most location dependent, if that
Mhm.
makes sense. Whereas it really depends on where you are, where the enemy team is compared to other maps where it's kind of just everyone's all over the place.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree, and I'm what I'm noticing here too is that we talked about it a bit in our previous weeks that both of these compositions that teams really seem to be wanting to get to focus a lot on mobility, focus a lot on getting from point A to point B super quickly because you are right. You have to have somebody on the bot while while the rest of your team pushes forward, and usually the best person to do that is a support because a majority supports, actually every support that isn't a Mercy, I think, and a Lucio has range healing, has some form of ability to assist their teammates at a distance. And so as long as a team is able to stay within line of sight of the bot and continue to move around with each other and set up um, in a coordinated fashion, they can take that space without really much worry as to fighting a 4v5, right? However, the other side of that is the fact that in Esperanza, especially, you have so many different ways of getting behind the bot, and in that case, getting to the supports. So this active mobility and this ability to peel for everybody and sort of cover each other's weaknesses is a very strong foundational choice that we're seeing from both of these teams in their picks, and constantly being able to get from point A to point B without having to worry too much is a giant factor in that decision making. So, very smart from both of those teams is they're going to be looking to sort of cover their weak spots if they ever get exposed.
Definitely. And I want to talk about the Mercy for a second, because
Mhm.
Mercy is a character that's gone through, within the last couple
Mhm.
weeks, quite a few changes that have really changed the way that people play her and play around her within a match. And she lost a little bit of mobility, but gained quite a bit more healing in
Mhm.
potential situations. And in my matches at least, seeing a lot more Mercy played with these high mobility comps. Even with that loss of healing or that loss of mobility, that boost of healing coming from that makes her still easily playable, and it's
Right.
almost put her into a sort of main heal role, I think, in a lot of
Mhm.
comps. Because that boost healing now, you see her be able to put up, even with the damage boost, most of the time, she's still able to put up healing numbers comparable to like an Ana or a Moira, depending on the comp. And it's really kind of crazy to see how that plays out.
Yeah, well, I mean, we saw that last week, didn't we? We had a 4v4 match, and actually, even in the 5v5 match, the same game, Penguin came out on the Mercy, and in a first point hold, a 1 point hold of Rialto. So there's 3 points in Rialto, right? So that match could have gone on 3 times longer. We saw Penguin being there with 9,700 healing, which is just an astronomical level, and definitely, like you said, puts her away from that off healer role that she's been sort of known for over the years into main healer status. She can be the single sole provider for your team because of the fact that whenever her target gets below 50% HP, she gets 50% more healing, and that pushes it to the max. I mean, there are certain characters that actually get canceled out whenever Mercy is beaming that target. So it can be quite crazy, and in capable hands, it can be done quite excellently well. And I do agree. Even though she is much easier to hit, and in some cases that makes her much easier to kill, her healing ability has become kind of insane, and we have been seeing that exercised multiple times in Oath.
Absolutely. And, it's changed a lot of the comps that she runs through. Like, it used to be that you would almost never see a Mercy Lucio run
Mhm.
in the same comp unless it
Yep.
was something crazy. You almost never saw that. Well, now in a lot of these high mobility based comps, you got the wrecking ball most of the time. We're
Mhm.
seeing a lot of Faras. I It looks like Ember's running out right now. You got wrecking ball, Pharah, Reaper, and then Kiriko Mercy, and
Mhm.
that's easy to run now because Kiriko doesn't often put up a lot of healing in most
Right.
situations. Um, but Mercy able to put up that just bit of extra healing that she's able to throw up now
Mhm.
really makes that a super playable comp because not only do you have the pharmacy and the danger that comes with that, as we've seen match after match, especially from Rush,
Mhm.
but you could also Mercy can just jump on Wrecking Ball and Wrecking Ball's back in the fight just like that really quickly, and you got the damage boost on the Reaper and the Fire. It's
Mhm.
an all around just dangerous combination throughout that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I yeah, 100%, and I really like the Mercy Kiriko because whatever Kiriko can't heal, a Mercy can finish, and whatever a Mercy can't save, a Kiriko can save. Suzu is a very powerful ability that still remains to be, uh, one of the I think still one of the most criticized abilities because it's a large area that will cleanse any of your teammates of any effects given to them. Sleep, anti-nade, shatter, CC, regardless of what it is, and it makes them invulnerable for I believe 1 second, 1.5 seconds, which is quite a long period in Overwatch. So in the instance that a Mercy cannot keep her entire team alive due to a large burst of damage, i.e., wrecking ball mines, i.e., shatter. You can always have a Kiriko come into the backline, get that Suzu off on at least a portion of her teammates, and for that portion of teammates, keep them safe for a second and a half and let that HP rise again through the help of the Mercy. So it's a very strong backline system, and I'm really, really impressed that Ember is executing it right now. And we'll just have to see how that pays off, especially considering their previous strategies.
Definitely. And you mentioned the Suzu, how often it gets criticized. Personally, for me, I have a lot of issues with it that we're not going to get into right now. But it is super powerful, though. That being
Mhm,
said, as annoying as it is to play around, it is super powerful, and I think that's really brought Kiriko into the front in terms of
mhm,
how often she's played. You see her in almost every single comp now because of that, that Suzu alone can counter so many characters in
mhm,
every single role. You've got several DPS ults that are just instantly gone. You've got several tank ults that are just gone. Ana, is almost completely shut down by a good Kiriko, which makes it really difficult to play around. And
mhm,
just that ability alone can do all of this, and you combine that with Kiriko's ability to climb walls, Kiriko's ability to just disappear and be halfway across the map in a literal instant, makes it really annoying to play around a Kiriko, and especially a really good one like we've seen these last few matches.
Yep,
Um, but, with the headshot ability, just the high damage as well that you can get, it makes for some really exciting gameplay. You see Kiriko just teleport in the middle of the team, get 3 headshots. I believe it was Pressure 2 or 3
yep.
weeks ago, uh, just completely wiped a team, I think almost solely with 7 headshots in less than 30 seconds.
Yeah, no,
An
absolutely.
absolutely amazing play as Kiriko.
Yeah, so that is a perfect example of what a Kiriko should be doing. I mean, whenever you have the mechanical skill of pressure, you should be mixing in that healing with that damage. And I do think Kiriko is a little bit more difficult than we give her credit for. It's just the fact that she's got a second support to sort of rough out those edges, right? Suzu, I don't think would be quite as powerful if you couldn't follow it up with the healing that a Mercy and a Kiriko provide, right? Because they're both single target healings. But
Mhm.
you can, and for that reason, Suzu is incredibly powerful. Plus, it's at a 15-second cooldown, so it's not necessarily like a spammable one that you just have to constantly keep an eye out for. Just wait for it to activate and you can follow up on it. But
Yeah,
regardless, we're gonna be following it back up for Ember versus Glitch. We've got a bit of a fill for Guy Noob filling in for Catitude. Um Coming in here on the side of Glitch. So we'll just have to see exactly how he rolls out. I remember Gainu mainly playing DPS when I watched him. However, I'm curious to see exactly how the support's going to be executed.
absolutely. I don't believe we've seen the support from Gainu as of yet, but I could be wrong. Still, this is looking like a really exciting matchup. We've got Ember on sort of the rush, that high mobility comp we talked about, and then we have Glitch running the opposite. We've got the Mei Hog, and
Mhm.
Mei and Hog both working together really well to shut down Wrecking Ball, which I think is a really smart play, especially against Lazy Titan and how they've been playing Wrecking Ball these last few matches.
And we saw, Hog has in and of himself gotten a buttload of nerfs as well, but we saw Carnage on the side of Rush last week prove why that character is still can still be invaluable in the right hands. Um, and and it could be fun time Cold's hands to sort of show us how strong this character can be at shutting down certain characters this time. Lazy Titan gonna be rolling out with the grappling hook, gonna get into the back line and then engages with the power drive. Immediately squashing Gainu on the head. Nobody sees it coming. That's one down already. Got the follow up from Dapper, I believe, on the Pharah. And that's gonna be a very nice pick immediately for the side of Embers. They're gonna continue pushing forward here. Squirrelvoid's able to follow that up on pressures though, and now both teams are even. It's
Yeah,
been a
definitely.
long.
We see Glitch coming out here with a high amount of self sustain, allowing them to stay in this fight, despite losing Gainu right off the bat.
Absolutely, but you cannot leave that pharmacy alive, and Dapper is gonna be finding Crowwood as well and diving into the backline as well, just putting out so much DPS pressure with that Mercy Pocket, and so hard to take them out. Now pressure swapped over from the Reaper onto the Cassidy, so we'll get to see him come in just a little bit. Oh my goodness, Guinan was able to take out Dapper, a little bit of a revenge kill, coming back in from the fight. It's been going on for a minute and a half now, if you can believe that. And neither team wants to give this one up or claim victory.
Absolutely, we see both teams just fighting for their lives now as Crowboy comes out on the Bastion, ready to roll, literally, as she just starts firing into the enemy team.
Glitch able to pick up 2 picks onto Ember now, and they could be fighting a first fight win. Pressure's able to pick up Gainu, though the backline is falling. Galactic Rose goes down as well, and it is still Ember's fight to win. This side once again diving in, and there's the barrage from Dapper, but it's gonna get taken out by the Bastion swap from Crowvoid. We're seeing it once again here, and we're seeing it executed well. Eventually, Glitch will win the first fight, and will continue progress on about 2 minutes into the game.
Yeah, 2 minutes down, and the robots only now started moving, and barely that even. And the Crowboy switch from Bastion does a lot here. You see Bastion being able to counter the Wrecking Ball and the Pharmacy to a pretty great extent. So I think that was definitely a very smart play.
Laser Titan activates the mines in the backline, and Galactic Rose takes a little bit of a tumble into that explosive force field. Mr. Mister's going to be picking off Pineapple, though. The battle sport ends going on, and Pressures finds another pick as well. Trades left, right, front, and center as this fight goes all over the place, and Glitch can be forcing themselves back a little bit as Lazy Titan continues to make some progress along with characters. Gainu gets down low, but not before Pressures goes down to Funtime Totem. We're seeing a capable Hog once again be executed here, this time by the side of Glitch instead of Rush. 7 minutes down the clock as both teams once again meeting this messy brawl, and neither one wanted to give up victory.
And we see a lot of early picks from both sides, but it's just kind of countered by the other team with the exact same thing, making it really difficult for either side to find progress here.
3 ultimates executed for the side of Glitch. They're going to find the enemy in the small room. Crowboy finds 2 with the Bastion barrage. Pressures enters with a high noon track and is able to pick off 1. I don't know if it'll be enough, but he's getting so much healing from his support. It's not going to be just enough, though, and Pressures will eventually go down. And once again, Glitch finding 2 fights in a row where they claim victory over Ember.
And Glitch doing an amazing job right now of taking space and waiting for Ember to move into them. Really taking the fight where they want it, and especially with a comp like this, where you almost have to do that against the Wrecking Ball. But they're doing a great job of shutting down the Wrecking Ball, not allowing them to take that space. We talked about how important that was earlier in the match, and we see the Glitch doing a fantastic job of that right now.
Absolutely, Galactic Rose has the overload, but is going to get a little bit of a pressure back from Lazy Titan's mind. Immediately able to pick up Mr. and Crowboy goes down as well. It's a beautiful engage from Lazy Titan and the continuing rush to clean the rest of the side of Glitch up, and now Ember, with a coordinated effort, will clean it up with Pressures finding 2 at the end.
A really good play there from Ember, using their ultimates well and working together in order to clear the team, finally get that robot moving in their favor. But Glitch now we see with a little bit of the couple ultimates ready to roll, but we see 2 still on the side of Ember as they have that ultimate advantage ready for this fight.
And immediately there's a pick over from the side of Ember, getting one on Crowvoid. High Noon comes through with the massive immortality from the side of Gainu. Keeps the rest of Glitch alive, and this is actually the able to pick the Lazy Titan. That's a massive bad piece play that we just saw there, and it's actually keeping what keeps Glitch alive in this fight. Pressures we're gonna Glitch Rose, but not before Pineapple gets traded out, and the support on the side of the Ember are down. Completely down. No more healing for them as Glitch. And they continue holding on strong and continue pressing forward.
Gainu as a Phil has been doing a fantastic job of keeping their teammates alive, using that lamp to really prevent several ultimates from picking off members of their team, doing an excellent job with that. And I think that's helped a lot to get the value that their team has. Just slowly pushing back Ember, now reclaiming the robot and moving it back their way, hoping to maybe get forward spawns one more time before Ember gets back, but we will see.
We sure will, and now 2 ultimates online for the side of Glitch as they've got Whole Hog and Overclock Fledglers. Make that 3, make that 4, actually. They
But
are
yeah, 4.
ready and loaded for this next fight, and, 4 minutes on the clock are left, and those segments immediately blown up. I mean, a very nice engage there, but the ultimates come through for the side of Glitch. The healing becomes too much as the Sunbear comes through for the side of Mr. Whole Hog uses sort of force, Ember off the point. And once again, they're gonna continue getting they get that forward spawn advantage, and they're gonna continue pressing forward.
And we see 2 ults online from both teams, Glitch having both DPS ults, and Ember having their tank and the Noon. And, Pile Drive Noon being a really powerful combo, especially if Mines are in play. Definitely looking forward to see what they do with it
Oh
here.
my goodness. That subsystem coming up from the side of Funtime Cold is gonna allow Mr. enough time to finish off Pressure. She's down low for so long. Pineapple does you get the res off the Pressure. So now Ember is up in full force. Pressure's able to pick up Flex Rose with the window coming through for the side of Dynan. Punching is doing such an incredible job. Will eventually get cleaned up by Dapper. The ultimate won't find too much value. Pressure picks up Pro Void. And that will be once again Ember finding another victory here. Can they make progress?
Ember really did a good job of, really capitalizing on those early picks by cleaning up the rest of the team, cleaning up that fight, not wasting any more ultimates, holding on to what they have. And we see, they're about to have 2 ults, but Glitch still has both of their DPS ults.
I knew come through my point too. It does, and Pressures doesn't actually die there. The damage reduction from the High Noon coming through and keeping Pressures alive is absolutely massive. Pressures not quite able to get the grenade on the Mr. Mitch, but it doesn't matter. He finds a third with the help of Pineapple. And now Ember finally able to take the lead here. Beautiful power drive from Lazy Titan to finish this one off. And they very well might take it. There's going to be a little bit of a point capture delay, but
And
they're on
Ember
a roll.
themselves now have forward spawns, so they're going to be able to get back in the fight a lot faster. And with the Wrecking Ball, it makes it really easy to just get back and forth between fights. Contest the other team from moving the robot as much as possible.
Overclock here now from the side of Galactic Rose. Guidance gonna be able to pick up Pineapple. Dapper trades it with Pro Void on the Reaper now. And Overclock not gonna get too much value as Lazy Titan continues trying to cause a little bit of issue and havoc in the backline. Pressure pops the immortality from the Guidance when Funtime Cold eventually goes down. Make that 1, make that 2 traded out now as neither team really wants to give this one up. They are just a few meters away from taking the lead, Ember is. Dapper's able to pick off Galactic Rose, and Mr. goes down as well. Pro Void is going to get picked off as well, and Pressures with the 2 picks is going to allow Ember to sort of take the lead, and now it is going to be Glitch on the back foot.
And we saw Pressure there with a fantastic barrage of shots, already having the High Noon ready to go for this next fight. Just got several kills there, followed by the magnetic grenade, just to get that last kill. And now we see both teams coming in, but Ember really has an ult advantage.
Beautiful pick. Dapper not going to be able to find it, so it's High Noon and Sunbear are trading for both teams. Pressure gets Mr. and Funtime Cold and Galactic Rose, which is a beautiful corner shot. It's absolutely insane. Lazy Titan cleans up Guy Noob, and that will be once again another advancement here for the side of Embers. They're going to be looking at last fight territory with 45 seconds left on the clock.
And that's the beauty of Rush as a map. Every one of these, especially Esperanza, it's not really a lost fight until their whole team's gone. So we see, Glitch really push Ember way back just for Ember to come back without losing a fight and get back into this.
Mind Fist from the side of Lazy Titan going to be keeping the enemy team away, and Dapper's going to be able to clean them up with a Kitsune Rush, an attack visor combo. Lazy Titan gets one at the end there with the mines, but that is going to be it. A beautiful push there from the side of Ember, and they have showed once again with that incredible comeback why they are the one undefeated team so far.
Absolutely.
Play of the game.
We're going to be seeing a very nice play from the Pressures. I have a feeling it's going to be a very nice High Noon. Follow those 3 corner shots. We're going to see it once again. Oh, glorious. My man's got mechanics of a demon.
Absolutely. We saw shot after shot there. Landing. It seemed like I had almost every time too, like we mentioned earlier. It's not just Kirko, also the Cassidy. A great play there all around from both sides. We saw, Glitch really fighting there at the start, and it took Ember a while to really find a way to counteract that. And we saw they had to make several swaps, Provoid, he switched relatively early off of the Mei and onto the Bastion, which worked extremely well until, Ember had to make their own changes. And that's one thing that we've kind of seen as a consistent theme from Glitch is their ability to, adapt to really every situation. But we saw great plays on both sides, especially that final play for Ember. We saw Lazy Titan with the early minefield
Yeah.
right outside the spawn door,
Oh.
almost trapping them right there, keeping them unable to do anything. And then the power boosted visor. That's just a lot of damage to deal with in such a short amount of time. Really tricky, and they played that super well.
Get past my invulnerable shield, meet my unstoppable spear. So,
Mhm.
that was a beautiful execution from the side of Ember. Glitch showed remarkable tenacity, though. I really liked, like, for a second, you had me believing that Glitch was gonna take this win away from Ember, and that's huge because the only other person they've lost a map to has been Rush, and they still
Mhm.
came out on top. So this was a sort of a wake-up call, I feel like, not to get too comfortable, not to sort of sit on back and watch as the enemy, takes advantage of that and sort of overcomes that. But Glitch did an incredible job, I think, and had a um very solid execution on Esperanza, where they were just able to constantly be all over Ember, never let them act as a coordinated unit, never let them, become a single guy, and for that reason, they were just constantly able to keep Ember on the back foot, regardless of Ember's best efforts to sort of cause chaos of their own.
Absolutely. And we're moving now to Shambali Monastery. One of the newer maps came out last season, only season 2 of Overwatch 2.
Mm.
Definitely really interesting map. Not a lot known as of yet for most teams, as to really how to play. So it's another really interesting map in terms of high ground being extremely important throughout the map.
Mhm.
It's almost entirely uphill. And there are several really interesting sight lines. You've got several long range and several really close range. Overall, a super fun map to play. Really excited to see how they play through this one and to see what changes they make for this next match.
Yeah, I'm quite curious with Shambali Monastery because it is all in all, especially once you get past the first point, a uphill battle, and I mean that literally. You are literally constantly fighting the defenders who always have high ground against you. And that is such an important factor in the way Shambhala Monastery is constructed as a principle for this map that it makes you wonder if they're going to be going for the ball, right? Because
Mhm.
ball is very good at trying to get behind the enemy and cause issues. But if you're on a map where you're constantly having uh to dedicate yourself to behind enemy lines and never back to your allies where you can get the support that you need, is it really going to be a great choice? And we're seeing little hints in the second of what exactly that might mean for our teams.
Absolutely, and we're still waiting on players, so it doesn't look like we have the exact lineup yet. Because
Oh,
as of right now, it looks like
oh
pressure
yeah,
is
yeah, you're
on
right.
the tank.
We
Um,
haven't quite started the lobby. That's okay. It's how it goes. We're doing it live, ladies and gentlemen. We're doing it live.
yeah.
But no, seriously, I Um, and then another really popular pick for this is Ramatra instead of the ball on the
Mhm.
tank line because he's just able to run around the corners that are set up. He's able to access the high ground pretty quickly for a brawl tank and just obliterate in these smaller corridors.
Absolutely, like you said, Ramatra being super powerful here, but also Sigma has shown, quite a presence in maps like this in the past. Um, Sigma able just to hold corners, and there are a lot of corners on this map, and just throw the balls down one side as soon as the team comes in. Hit shift, throw a shield, absorb a lot of damage while your team does the cleanup. But we do see Lazy Titan on the ball again, and Funtime Cold this time running out with Zarya.
Yeah, interesting pick, Azaria, against the ball composition. I have a feeling that Funtime Cold's main objective here is to ignore ball, push into squishies.
Mhm.
Because Zarya is not really gonna be the one who's gonna get a kill onto Lazy Titan, ever. And so that is my prediction for exactly how this execution is gonna be ran here. We have an immediate close hold here from the side of Dapper and Lazy Titan right at the enemy spawn doors.
Ember looks like just trying to buy as much time early on as possible to, kind of keep that bank for later fights.
Crowvoid actually finds the first pick on the pressures as the Genji goes uncontested in the backline, but Dapper's able to pick up on Catitude, and that is going to be 1-for-1 on either side.
And, Glitch really has a high spawn advantage here, coming right outside the doors, right to the cart. But Dapper, back on the Pharah, working well with Pineapple for the pharmacy. And Dapper in the past has shown, a really strong Pharah play, especially last week against Raj, mirroring that Pharah.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and we're going to be seeing it here again. Once again, Dapper finds Mr. Mister, and neither team really getting a whole lot of progress here. Lazy Titan doing a great job at sort of keeping the enemy away for as long as possible, and that's going to allow the rest of Ember to sort of clean up the opposition as they continue trying to push out here.
Absolutely. And we see Ember still able to keep them back. What kind of changes do you think Glitch needs to make pretty quick in order to stay in this fight?
Probably something. It's got to be something to take care of Dapper, I imagine. But Lazy Titan's gonna be picking up Catitude immediately out of the spawn doors. Glitch just not getting the chance to sort of walk out. The barrage comes through, but it's not gonna pick off anything. And Dapper gets down low. Will get eventually picked up by the Valkyrie Mercy from the side of Pineapple. Pressure's able to pick up Galactic Rose, and once again, this is a really close hold here to the side of Ember.
I think you hit it, really right on the head with that. There's really no one in Glitch's comp right now that can counter Pharah. I mean, outside of the Ana, which is really kind of pushing it with Ana, trying to protect their team, with the Lucio as the other support. Not much you can really do in order to counteract that.
Nice bubble there to keep Crowvoid alive as long as possible, but it's not going to be enough. And pressure spins up 3, and it might be 4 here in just a second. Oh my goodness, crazy.
Crazy headshot.
It's, yeah, it's a little bit of a tough question for the side of Glitch, but they're going to be pulling out that blade here. Let's see if Crowboy's going to be able to pull anything off with it. He might be able to find up on the Mercy, but no. Pressure's going to be there to protect his support, and now that the mines are on the point, Mr. Mister goes up in a fiery explosion.
Really solid play there from Lazy Titan to get those mines back on the cart, pushing them back towards the spawn, where Dapper's able to get a lot of value on the Pharah just by, shooting at the doors. There's really not much you can do, but we do see the Torb swap, which can definitely be helpful. Torb having a high damage output and a lot of self-sustain, while also having that turret to really, just kind of shoot fire into the Pharah, giving her a bit less of a sideline advantage.
I don't hate the idea of the Torb swap, but the point is you have to be able to get out the door, and Glitch is just not able to sort of get themselves out of here. Now we see the swap over to the Diva, and this is what I was really hoping for. This is what I was hoping to see. Now with that beautiful headshot, Dapper's forced back. He's down to 1 HP, so if anybody's able to follow up on that, it could be absolutely massive. They will eventually get put back up, and now ultimates are starting to come online for both of these teams. We see Resurrection for Lazy Titan, who does get picked off, and Crowboy's able to pick off Pressures. Catitude's able to pick off Pineapple. This is finally it. Glitch with those tank swaps are going to be finally pushing forward, and Crowboy picks up 2 with the Torb. Now with 10 seconds remaining, they're able to get past the first corner, and they cannot lose a fight, or the attack will be decided.
And the Diva swap already paying off for Funtime Cold. We saw them able to eat that super high damage, get in Ember's face, and really push him back off the fight, and they got those picks that won him that.
Molten Core out for the side of Crowboy, who might be trying to find some picks here as the window comes in for the side of Mr. Mister. Mr. Mister does go down thanks to the barrage from Dapper, but Dapper gets shredded out by Crowboy. Pressures and Pineapple gets the res on Dapper. Pressure's able to pick off Galactic Rose, and Kitsune Rush comes through for the side of Ember. Now it's coming down to the 3v5 right now as Crowboy's gonna be trying anything to find any picks, but Dapper is still in the air, still causing issues. Overtime is ticking down. The bomb comes through to keep the rest of the enemy away, and nobody's able to touch. That'll be round 1 complete with a beautiful hold from the side of Ember.
What a great play there from Glitch, getting it as far as they did. Right before, Ember just having that high mobility allowed them to really quickly get right back in the fight. So despite Glitch's
Initiating
spawn advantage, they
execute.
were still able to just rush right on in there and get back in that fight. We saw great plays all around throughout that final fight, but pressure still with headshot after headshot, it seemed, getting those picks, Dapper in the sky, cleaning him up, Lazy Titan knocking him around, not allowing them to focus on one character or another, just really great team play there. And their composition really showed and really shined throughout all of that.
Ready for battle.
I do wanna say, in Glitch's name, it's they made the swaps they needed to. Unfortunately, we were just pretty late into the encounter, but
Hmm.
I did like the swaps they were trying to make. They tried for the Torb. They eventually tried for the Diva. And I think the Diva gave enough room for Crovoid on the Torb to sort of finally start executing that idea, right? We had Torb, whose turret is a fantastic tool against Pharah, but if you can't get out the door, the turret doesn't do a whole lot because it
Hmm.
relies on line of sight. Once Funtime Cold was able to swap the Diva and sort of buy a little bit more
Five,
space against that
four,
pharmacy composition
three,
and
two,
do that use that burst
one.
damage against Lazy Titan, we
Attackers
saw a
incoming.
lot more success. And if they're
Sword
able to replicate
delivery.
that same success, we could see a miracle here. But Dapper gonna be coming out here on the Pharah immediately.
Absolutely, and you mentioned those changes really paying off, and we see them, swapping to an Echo for Crovoid instead of the Torb, and really interesting, really helps, especially with the stickies onto the ball, and really help to counter the pharmacy throughout it.
Mr. and Galactic Rose both go down, and I do agree. I think Echo can, if you're mechanical, if you're as good as you can be, can counter that pharmacy combo pressures. Mr. both find picks of their own, and Funtime Cold goes down as well. Now it's gonna be last fight territory. We see some swaps here as Galactic Rose swaps over to the soldier.
The payload is
And can anybody
approaching
make it there?
its
There's a
destination.
sleep dart. Nope. Not a
Victory.
recontest, unfortunately, and Ember will be taking the second map. Congratulations to them on a beautiful hold, well done. And that is the series, 2-0.
Great play here from Crovoid. I think it's right around that corner. Yep.
Yeah, so we saw Crovoid's turret eventually get Dapper, and this is what I was saying, is like, the Torb is just so good at doing so much burst damage, and that turret is so effective against a flying target that struggles to get behind cover, right? So once they made that swap, they were finding success. And Glitch, I you had some phenomenal moments here. I thought Esperanza was incredible, right? Whenever we talk about the game overall, we saw some really, 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 really strong efforts from you guys. But Ember, they had a wake up call after Esperanza, and they just were not stopping on that gas pedal. So congratulations to them for taking on this, for taking on their third win of or fourth one, I apologize, of the season in our mid season matches, and we will see you guys in just a few minutes as we are going to be swapping over to Rush versus Croutons. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for our second round of tonight's game. My name is Robert. I'm joined by Imperium, and we are here for Rush versus Croutons.
Absolutely. Super excited for this matchup today. We saw Rush last week with one of the craziest matches in Overwatch history against Ember. Full three map game, back and forth the whole time. I think it went into overtime
Yep.
4 times throughout those three matches.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy.
Yeah, no, absolutely stunning matches and was an incredible showing from the side of Rush, but they did lose their first match last week to the side of Ember, so we'll be seeing that sort of bounce back now, right? They've been rocked the boat a little bit. They've may or may not have lost a little bit of confidence, and now they're gonna be heading into a rejuvenated, I would say, Croutons who had to fight Glitch last week and showed some force, more force than they had previously. In fact, winning last week's match against Glitch as well. So this could be a sort of resurgence for them on the end, while Rush is kind of maybe down a little bit. As long as they keep their mental strong, though, I don't think that'll be too much of an issue, and we will have to see exactly who's able to topple who here.
Absolutely. And like you said, Rush, really has, no need to keep their head down after the showing they had last week. Super strong. It could have gone either way. I think next
True.
time Rush plays Ember, it's probably going to be Rush. I'm super excited to see that in a few weeks, I think. So, but as for this game, starting out with Esperanza, the push map, really excited to see what the teams bring out in terms of comps. We've seen all kinds of crazy sort of team compositions thrown out by both teams these last few weeks, especially on this map.
Well, I do know Carnage being a very big Ramatra fan. So if Rush is going to be playing around that into Croutons with Gumball, typically favoring the dive hero wrecking ball, we could see a little bit of a counter strategy there from either side. However, we will just have to wait and see as the doors open, and we see that Gumball is now on the Diva.
And we see Carnage on the Reinhardt, and we talk a lot about Reinhardt matchups here
Mhm.
between the two of us. Really excited to see Reinhardt brought out, especially with the comp that's with it. You got the Rhine and then May and Lucio being super powerful. To really speed inside their team, slow their whole team down, and let Reinhardt get pick after pick. So it makes for a
Mhm.
super exciting gameplay. But on the side of the Croutons here, really interesting comp with the Mercy Zen. You got Diva for the dive, Sombra for the dive, Junkrat for the random spam that always seems to get pick after pick. Both really exciting comps from both sides.
Absolutely, and this could be. I love the sort of rush effect that we have going on for the side of for the side of Rush. As they're gonna be immediately picking off two, a Dragon Gamer on that Mega, finding Gumball and Penguin immediately. Dragon Gamer finds a third, and that speed from the enemy Lucio make that four. And will he win the 1v1 against the Somber? We'll just have to wait and see. That's an ace from one man. What in the world are we opening
Amazing.
up with? And immediately Rush will be taking the first fight.
And especially with the dive comp like they were running, May gets a ton of value just slowing them down. Her freeze going through Diva's E, and we saw the team work great together to get those early picks, and it paid off tremendously.
Oh my goodness, Gumball gets cut off, and even with the immense health that Orisa has, it's gonna get chopped down with no supports there now. Dragon Gamer's gonna be picking up Penguin and Rush coming out with blood on their hands. Gonna be holding close in the small room. Carnage getting pressured up, but will smartly return and rotate towards his team. Dragon Gamer caught out a bit though in the middle of Croutons. They are gonna be able to find a pick on him, and now this is their time to sort of getting their push, and Carnage getting down low, but Gainu will get picked off instead. Ghost Dragon trading on Supernova as the Junkrat spam, as you mentioned, putting out lots of DPS pressure on the side of Rush. Gumball is able to take out Carnage as well, and finally, Rush will be the first one. Will be taking this one back, or at least should be.
And Rush with the forward spawn now, allowing them to get in there a lot quicker, recontest before maybe they're even able to reach the middle. So we will see as they're getting back through here. But
Uh,
we see Dragon Gamer doing a fantastic job in the May. They played May a little bit in last week's match. Had a lot of success with that. So to see them come out even stronger today is absolutely amazing.
Noob going to be looking for the Blossomers. They play incredibly aggressive. You've got to be watching out for those right clicks from the Mei. Playing around the team is a smart decision here. Ghost Dragon also has the tire available, but there's 3, maybe 4 ultimates online for the side of Rush in this fight alone. There's a Blossom though. Oh, beautifully executed. Barty and Angry Gamer both go down. That sports unknown class, I apologize, both go down there. And Guy Noob picks up 4. Oh
I think
my goodness, the DPS are going insane this week today.
another complete 5K, with the help of Biohazard on the Zenyatta, just discording after discording the enemy, really helped Gainu get that extra damage, that little bit of damage that comes from the Discord orb, really helped sweep through that with the ultimate picking off 3, Discord, headshots to pick off the rest of them.
Carnage going to be rotating over to the background with a beautiful transcendence there from the side of Biohazard, going to be keeping the rest of the team alive. The tire comes through, that's a massive amount of burst damage, and picking up Barty. Barty goes down, and now with support shit on either side, neither team going to be really finding a clear victory here, but it will be once again Croutons with the victory here as Carnage is the last one left standing.
And we see Unknown as the Lucio keeping the Reinhardt alive, speeding the point, delaying it as long as possible before finally being picked off by Gainoob on the Reaper again. Rush coming right back in the fight. That long stall. Lucio has the speed boost. They can get back here really quickly. So we will see what they do here.
The games on Esperanza this week have been fascinating to watch as we see another return of power sort of swing over to the way of Croutons after initially getting sort of ran over, but there's going to be the shatter. It's not going to get blocked off by Gumball, but Gumball has the ultimate to retaliate. Carnage going to be running over Ghost Dragon with a very nice fire strike as the Orisa ult doesn't get anything, but there's a Blossom once again. It picks up 2, make that 3, make that 4 as Biohazard is able to pick up Dragon Gamer. That is a team kill. 5 minutes and 45 seconds on the clock, and it will be Croutons pushing around this last corner.
2 fights is all it took Gainoob to get that next ultimate. Absolutely crazy. There's no way that Rush was anticipating it, and we saw it right there. That ultimate cleaning up another 3. A fantastic play there from Gainoob. And from the side of Penguin and Biohazard, keeping them alive, through all those ultimates that were used. Fantastic plays all around.
I really have been liking this Lucio Reinhardt composition that they're going at. Gumball gets cut off once again. The window comes through to sort of give a little bit more DPS pressure open for the side of Rush, but there's a beautiful grenade placed. Carnage and Barty and Supernova all going down. Dragon Gamer does get 1 pick on a Gainu, but it's probably going to get resurrected. There it is. And Croutons are just non-stop right now. Rush sort of finding themselves on the back foot here.
Absolutely, and as the Croutons, stagger one Rush player after another, it's going to be really difficult for them to be able to, come back as a full 5 and maybe push them off.
Biohazard gonna have the transcendence here as the freeze comes through. It's gonna be freezing a few, and Penguin is gonna go down. It is followed up by the overclock from Supernova, gonna be absolutely melting Gumball's HP even through an active transcendence. And Biohazard gonna be the last one remaining, as finally it looks like Rush might get a chance to sort of swing the momentum back in their favor.
Biohazard there, able to pick off Dragon Gamer right before this push. But we still see Ghost Dragon as Junkrat's in the backline with his fire.
Fire comes through. I don't think Ghost Dragon was aware that Carnage was behind. That they do trade out a Lucio though, and that could be a pick. As we only have 2, maybe make that 3 from the side of Rush on the bot.
And Rush, without their Lucio speed, really can help turn them. But we see Dragon Gamer now with the swap through the Pharah. Definitely a pick we kind of expected, and I think can really turn the tide of the fight, especially on a push map like this. We talked about the beauty of push is that it's never really over till the victory or defeat screen pops up.
Yep. And considering the composition that currently is happening right now, there's a beautiful a sound barrier along with the shatter followed up, going to be allowing Carnage to get as aggressive as they need to. Dragon Gamer gets down to 12 HP. Will do a very smart rotation to sort of run away, and it will get even out here. Penguin does get the resurrection on Biohazard, but not before going down. Gainu picks off Dragon Gamer with the Reaper shotguns. You don't see that a whole lot, and it will be both teams sort of struggling to make ends meet here. Supernova is going to be able to find Ghost Dragon as well. Eventually, Gainu will be forced to retreat. And finally, once again, Rush will be finding their foothold.
And Crouton's here having 4 ultimates to come into this next fight with.
That's one getting cleansed to non-existence as the dude, these blossoms! Guy Noob is crazy. That's another 4K right there. He will eventually get picked off by Dragon Gamer on the on the Farah. That's another one. Is that our third one we've seen?
It's absolutely insane. It seems almost every other fight they have the Blossom ready to go, and it seems to work every single time.
I mean, well, Guy Noob waited for Barda to use that cleanse, and the moment that was over, there went the Q press. So beautiful space play here from the side of Guy Noob is going to be pushing back 4 members of the side of Russians. They're going to be on the back foot here. Now swapped over to the Sigma Carnage has. And Dragon Gamer is going to be picking up Ghost Dragon, but not before Ghost Dragon's able to trade with Dragon Gamer as well. That's a 4v4 right now on the point. Supernova gets down low, will not quite get picked off, and will get the support they need in order to continue in this fight. And 1 minute and 45 seconds remaining on the clock here. A barrage comes through. Dragon Gamer is able to pick up 2. Rush need to find victories here and need to start winning every fight they fight now in order to claim victory in this map.
Absolutely, you know, still a minute and 30 seconds left, which quite a bit of time. Probably just a minute left. By the time they get the robot all the way swung around, we see Dragon Gamer now trying to get this late pick on the Junkrat.
Oh, gets caught out a little bit though. Will very nice rotation. You can tell he's practiced the hero quite a bit.
100%. But we see Carnage with the Sigma swap. I think a really great idea. Sigma being able to counter quite a bit of what's really giving them problems. You know, able to eat the Death Blossom, you know, throw the shield in the face of the Junkrat, you know, throw rocks in their supports. I think it's definitely a great play as we see them, you know, really clean up the rest of Rush and continue to push that robot.
Absolutely. We see a Zenyatta trying their darndest to finish up the kills. Unfortunately, what happened? Carnage will push forward here with the side of Rush, and they will finally start making some leeway. Now, this is last fight for both these teams and multiple ultimates for either side, including I'm wanting to see once again a beautiful Transcendence here from the side of Biohazard. Dragon Gamer trying to build a barrage, is able to pick up Penguin before the fight even really starts as the tire comes through. It won't get popped by the rock. It does pick up Carnage. That's a very, very solid pick. But you're gonna really need to win this one. It really is coming down to last minute. 14 seconds left on the clock here as both teams. Oh my goodness, what a beautiful push there. The Suzu comes through, is able to save them. Barty, beautiful there. Gonna be saving both their necks, but it will get picked up by Ghost Dragon as well. Dragon Gamer has the barrage. It comes through along with the December to keep them alive. They're gonna be able to pick off Ghost Dragon. Overtime is ticking down. Crouton's have the advantage here. They're in the lead. The Transcendence comes through. It's sort of desperation point. Another team really wanted to get this one up.
For both teams now. One being used, ready to go. We got that's actually a third for the side of Rush.
This is very smart from the side of Gumball. You know, trying to retreat back to line of sight, trying to stay alive and maintain as long as possible. Kitsune Rush online now as good coach as. Dragon Gamer is going to be able to pick up Ghost Dragon. Biohazard picks up 2 in the backline. Both supports down now for the side of Rush as a Flux comes through as well. Gumball's going to pick up Supernova. The Flux doesn't find anything. Carnage going to try desperately to stay alive. Overtime is sticking down his chest. Dragon Gamer on the point. Can he pull a miracle out? He will not. Dragon Gamer will go down, and that will be a map win from the side of Croutons.
What a great play there from Biohazard. You know, going behind, getting that flank, picking up both supports. Especially before, you know, Barte with the ultimate, picking them off before they were able to use it.
Here we saw one of, I believe, 4 beautiful Death Blossoms. And there's that 5K.
Absolutely amazing job. You know, just a seemingly unstoppable force from the Croutons DPS-wise. You know, Ghost Dragon the whole time, seemingly having ultimate after ultimate on the Reaper, you know, and with the support from their support, able to do a lot, you know, just keep that sustain and, you know, stay in their faces at all times, it seemed. I mean, even Dragon Gamer on the Pharah got picked off multiple times by the Reaper. You know, that's not something you see every day.
Yeah. And the Junkrat, right? Like I mentioned it as soon as Dragon Gamer swapped over to that Pharah, it was like if you look at Rush's comp, they're not built to counter a Pharah. And
Mhm.
yet they were doing it. we have another hydrate the casters. I will take the second drink. Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you
you
very much.
keeping us hydrated and healthy. And now Croutons is up 1-0 against Rush.
Oh, and what was really a crazy game, it looked like, Rush coming back got really close, and
Mm-hmm.
if it wasn't for a couple amazing plays on the side of the Croutons, they probably would've. We saw, um, uh, Ghost Dragon with the Junkrat ult, picking
Mm-hmm.
off Carnage really early on while
Mm-hmm.
Carnage had that flux. That bought him so much time because then Rush didn't have the ultimate to rely on, but also
Mm-hmm.
didn't have their tank, which they desperately needed in a final push like that. And then when they
Yeah.
finally were able to come back during overtime, which they fantastically kept up, by the way, Rush, keeping that overtime for as long as they did is truly,
Mm.
really impressive. But when they finally were able to come back, we saw the flank by Biohazard picking off both supports right off the bat. And that really sealed the deal for Rush during that fight.
I think what might have saved it for Croutons was just the fact that Gumball made an incredibly intelligent decision that instead of forcing myself to be on the bot, I'm just going to retreat to line of sight on my spawn so that I can stay alive for the rest of my team and stall a bit, try to force out cooldowns, try to stop the bot's progress anymore. Because the good thing about being in the lead on push is the enemy has to come to you. You don't have to come to the
Mhm.
enemy, right? So that decision to disengage and allow just a little bit more space for the side of sorry, of Rush to allow them to get a little bit of extra momentum was a game changer because then you saw that Carnage was able to stay alive long enough, or sorry, that Gumball was able to stay alive long enough, and then the rest of Croutons was able to come back and slowly pick off the enemy team, and that was exemplary of what that last second decision making and that ability to be decisive in that decision making looks like. And Croutons played that incredibly well. Our second map is going to be Rialto.
And I don't think Rush really has any reason to get down. They showed that they had a really strong team. I think with a couple changes, they can really definitely flip this back into their favor, especially on a map like Rialto, which we're moving back in. That's a fantastic map for the pharmacy. So I'm definitely expecting, Dragon Gamer and Barte to be right back at it because, Dragon Gamer did a great job last match, even without the Mercy Pocket. So I think in a map like this, that's so strong, if you have that mercy pocket, I think Rush will easily be able to, push this back into their own favor. But, Croutons, after a showing like that, definitely also have a really good chance. This map works pretty well after the first point into their favor throughout that. But once they get around that turn, like towards second point, where it's almost all wide open, I think their comp's going to struggle just a little bit. So I'm definitely expecting a few changes from both sides as we get back into this.
Absolutely. It could be very interesting to see. I do really like the Pharah on Rialto up until like post first point, really, because you don't have so many buildings to hide behind that aren't going to be in direct opposition of the enemy. But we're going to be going to a bit of a pause here as we have a disconnect. So before we get into all of our our last, or not last map, I shouldn't say that because it's not. It very well could be the second of three, considering how close last match was. Our second map of Rush versus Croutons. Yeah, I mean, I'm just absolutely flabbergasted because if you think about, right, where croutons were 2 weeks ago, um, it was a little bit on like the struggle bus, right? They were really struggling to win maps. They were struggling to get the kills that they needed. They made the swaps they needed, but they just weren't able to capitalize on it. And I think over the past 2 weeks, right, where where they have pushed back very strong, you've seen this resurgence in teamwork, this resurgence in split second decision making, this resurgence in the ability to, as a unit, sort of capitalize on mistakes being made by the enemy. And I think Croutons has, at week 3 and beyond, really turned around as a team and become a force to be reckoned with.
No, I 100% agree. I don't think that last map we just saw was a, one map wonder, so to speak. And Croutons being able to, keep as well up as they have and win that map in such a fantastic manner against Rush, a team who last week, was just this close
Hmm.
from beating Ember, the
Yep.
only undefeated team, really shows, how strong the competition is amongst, these teams. And for them to do that well against a team that performed the way they did, really shows how strong, Croutons really has come. And I think Croutons played Rush 3 or 4 weeks ago, and
Yep.
it was a really completely different showing.
Yep. 110%. In fact, the Rush versus Croutons map was I believe week 1 and was the setting example of why Dragon Gamer and Barty's pharmacy combo was so strong because it did just roll over
Hmm.
the opposition. And now we're seeing this, like I said, this resurgence, this ability to bounce back and make changes and make smart decisions as a unit and as a team, and really capitalize on what they need to be focusing on, right? Because in that match of Croutons versus Rush, I remember seeing Ana, Bap, Ash. They started Junkrat and then
Hmm.
a Diva, and once they got 4 out of 5 hit scan going, then Rush started to struggle a little bit, and more like Dragon Gamer started to struggle staying alive a little bit, and Croutons found more ground. Now it's been 3 weeks since then, and we are seeing more than that. Uh, more than just Dragon Gamer struggling, right? We're seeing Carnage
Hmm.
had to swap. We're seeing Supernova sometimes getting picked off in the beginning of fights, and that is just wonderful coming out from Croutons. The ability that they've had with the past couple of weeks to sort of refine their strategies and become a much better team overall.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I mean, even we saw Dragon Gamer struggling on the Pharah, just getting picked off several times. And the Croutons were running what I would consider, completely worthless against Pharah in terms of DPS. Like they were running Reaper,
Yeah,
Junkrat,
yeah.
arguably two of the hardest characters to hit Pharah with, and we're still getting picks. And Dragon Gamer had all those amazing rotations,
Mhm.
played Pharah extremely well, but they were
Mhm.
still getting picked off, and a lot of it had to do with the power boost from Penguin, in the Discord, and the damage from Biohazard. Biohazard had several really important picks throughout every single one of their fights,
Mhm.
really showing the versatility of Zenyatta throughout that. And their team just worked great together against that. So it didn't really seem to matter what Rush threw at them because they worked really well with the comp they had. And they did make a few changes. I think Gainu toward the end swapped over to the Sombra in order to contest that a little bit, work a little bit around all of Sigma's five abilities that, make it really difficult for them to play what they were playing. And I think that was a really smart switch that we didn't get to see a ton of
Yeah.
because the game ended. But switches like that are really good, but playing what they did as strong as they did was super impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. And um we sort of harped on him last match with Ember versus Glitch, but I want to say that the support line is such an important aspect of a team, and they don't get a lot of recognition because the only ones you typically see in the kill feed are those of tank and DPS. And whenever you take a look at Penguin and Biohazard's support roles, right? Biohazard's incredible, and I mean incredible transcendences in the last match, right? Namely to counter Dragon Gamer's Blizzard, and I think that's why Dragon Gamer swapped over to the Pharah eventually, was because every time that Blizzard was thrown out, it was just a transcendence, and then that Blizzard get canceled out, right? And then Penguin, we've discussed Penguin time and time and time and time and time again.
Hmm.
Fantastic Mercy, constantly there to heal up to heal up their teammates, constantly there to give the most impactful players damage boost, constantly there to just find the resurrections they need, and has been also a very phenomenal tool in Crouton's back pocket. Now, Rush, you had an incredibly strong showing against Ember. Like, I was losing my marbles. I was
Hmm.
going insane. My hair was a mess afterwards because I was just ruffling it up all over the place. And you definitely got a really, 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 really solid team on the side of Rush. but I think we're seeing an adjustment here. They're like, "Oh, Croutons isn't playing around anymore," and now we're starting to see this rhythm come through. So we'll have to see if they're able to continue that same rhythm that they ended Esperanza with, pull that into Rialto, and give Croutons uh, an even bigger challenge.
Hmm. Definitely, and I think they can do it. 100%. If they can either really lean into the pharmacy, which has shown a great deal of success
Mhm.
in the past, especially since croutons really haven't shown much of a hit scan sort of run, last map or last week. So could be really interesting to see what they do there. But also, Rush can really rededicate into that sort of brawl type style they were running with the Reinhardt. With a few changes here and there, I think that can still
Mhm.
do really well. But that all depends on if the croutons, show up as strong as they did. They're really going to do a good job of shutting that down. But we could also see some other crazy changes. This is a great map for Roadhog or Wrecking
Mhm.
Ball, and Roadhog now after the crazy nerfs isn't typically considered an option, but we've seen time and time again, teams here, teams outside of Oath, prove that even with those giant nerfs, Roadhog is still an acceptable option and can still get immense amounts of value. Obviously, not as much as he used to be able
Yeah,
to
right.
with the one-shot hook, but still has other uses that make him really powerful, especially on a map like this with the early on environmental kill area. You
True.
get that hook, and then they're down for 10 seconds. So a lot of really great plays, but we see Gumball back out on the Orisa. You mentioned that they. Mhm.
Yeah.
So we did
Mhm.
switch sides now. We see Rush in the red and Croutons in the blue for our viewers. And the teams have swapped their names as well, which side they're being viewed on. But Gumball and the Orisa doing a fantastic job the entire time. And you had mentioned that they typically favor that dive style comp, and they
Yeah.
do well typically on the Diva, as we've seen. But the Orisa last match really really strong against what Rush was throwing against them, and I think they will definitely continue to do that throughout this.
Yeah, I'm also really liking the swap onto the Sigma that Carnage decided to stick with. Reinhardt tends to struggle against that Orisa, and I think he's recognized that up to this point. And with that burst damage coming out immediately from the Dragon Gamer, we're seeing a retreat now for the side for the side of Croutons.
Absolutely,
Oh,
and Supernova with the Tracer pick can really open up a lot of plays too.
Ghost Dragon goes down. Guardian's able to trade out Carnage. That's one tank for one DPS. Pigman goes down as well. And Dragon Gamer allowed in that backline picks off both supports. There's going to be no healing for anyone remaining on the side of Croutons, and and they will be forced to retreat here.
And again, Dragon Gamer showing how powerful that pharmacy can be. Just
Yeah,
rolling
next
out here really early and getting three really quick picks, while the other team was still focused on their own front line.
and this value that you're seeing, I think, really speaks volumes to what a Mercy provides a pharmacy composition, right? Because we saw Dragon Gamer struggling to make it through without any of that pocket healing. And now that he's got a Barty on his side, pulling up with that Mercy, beautiful Somber hack though, trying to find any sort of value there. Rumble will go down and Dragon Gamer will continue wreaking havoc. Another hack there, and Carnage finds Biohazard. And now, goodness, Rush has come out for blood.
Absolutely. And we see several really valuable swaps for croutons. We see them swap to the Ash to help against the pharmacy. We see the Somber pick to help, and Gumball with the Diva pick. It can be really powerful. Gumball now back on what seems to be their favorite with the Diva.
Mhm.
But they're still running that Mercy Zen kind of core, which can do really well, but I think it might have a few problems just in terms of healing numbers against this high damage comp from the Sigma Reaper Pharmacy, even with the Moira being able to do a little bit of extra damage.
Dragon Gamer goes down though. Gumball's able to pick him off after doing significant damage from Biohazard. And now Supernova sort of pushing forward here. One down, make that traded now. As Carnage going to be picking up Gainu, who's done a really good job at harassing the line of Rush. Unknown Class will be not falling somehow to that flush as well. And so much damage coming up from the side of Carnage that the Transcendence is forced out now. Gumball's able to find Unknown Class, and this could be a return here from the side of Croutons. Guy Noob once again goes down, picked off by Dragon Gamer in the air. Penguin eventually falls as well, and the support line now for the side of Gumball has sort of dissolved. The bomb comes through though, it's huge, it picks up Carnage. The remake comes through as well, not getting any squishes, but regardless of that, they're still able to pick up one, and unfortunately just not enough, and Rush will continue pushing forward here.
And what a crazy hole from Gumball. We saw them contest for that long and get those picks. And even though they were finally picked off, Rush had to, use those ultimates in order to make that happen. I think that's definitely a fair trade.
We have 4.5 minutes on the clock for the side of Rush. The MP comes through. Barty gets down low. Will they be able to pick him off? He gets down to 1, but will find the sustain he needs. Biohazard's able to pick off Dragon Gamer though, and Barty goes down as well. That pharmacy combo is now out of the picture for the side of Rush's Croutons. Going to be finding a very solid foothold now. By the way, Ghost Dragon hopped over to the Ash. Very smart pick. They're going to be trying to take care of that pharmacy combo as so much damage still coming in from the side of Rush, regardless of 2 picks coming through.
And, Biohazard now working just to secure a little bit extra picks, buy their team a little bit more time, but Rush just overall, just pick after pick, showing how powerful that pharmacy can be. Like we mentioned from the start, it's a truly just amazing force to be reckoned with when RT and Dragon Gamer come out on the pharmacy, and it was shown time and time again to be really difficult to work against.
Multiple ultimates online. Biohazard able to pick up Dragon Gamer immediately. You cannot let that resurrection come through as well though, but Supernova follows that up with the Blossom, finds 3 in the backline, and now it's just Ghost Dragon and Gumball remaining. The Bob comes through to try to add any pressure it can. It gets caught in the little window here. Dragon Gamer's able to pick up Ghost Dragon as well. And Gumball, the last remaining Crouton member to stall out. The bomb comes through. Guy Noob is there now. Massive ultimate advantage, a spawn advantage here for the side of Croutons. The Transcendence is going to allow them to ignore the damage from the Flux. Barrage comes through for the side of Dragon Gamer. We're going to pick off Biohazard as well. Make that 2 for the side of Dragon Gamer. Might be 3. Biohazard does get resurrected, not before Penguin goes down. And that is a 2-minute and 45 push for the side of Rush. They came out for blood in that round.
Absolutely. And, Croutons in that final bit did an excellent job of stalling for as long as they did. We saw the bomb come out to push them off the point, give them a little bit of extra time, and then they remeched, and then Trans was ready to come in from Biohazard, keeping them alive, buying as much time as possible. And, that time can be everything in the world when you come back and, hopefully try to get more time than they do. And we will see as they come out through here how that's going to work out. But, an overall super strong showing from Rush. Back out with the
Absolutely.
pharmacy, just truly just back and forth, kill after kill after kill, that whole fight.
Absolutely. We're going to be seeing a tank swap here. Gumball going over to the Winston. Oh, again, right, going back over to the... I was like, Winston, really? That's an interesting one. As we see a Biohazard now swapping over to the Baptiste, trying to get more of that hit scan pressure out, and Guy Noob going to be the one to challenge Dragon Gamer. So, with these swaps here from Croutons, I would be very interested to see who actually wins this sort of matchup we've got going on now. As I like the swaps from Croutons in the first round, but oftentimes they would get cut out of position. They'd just be a little too far forward and try to buy space with that Dragon Gamer pick, and then just got flanked, right? Or some other force would take out their backline, and then the rest would just sort of crumble. So, we're going to be seeing this head-to-head here.
We see them already rolling out pharmacies on both sides, and with an early pick also on both sides.
Yes, sir. Dragon Gamer is going to be finding one, but it does get traded out as well. Time getting clocked down. His Dragon forced to play a little safer on the corner now that he's got a Mercy to worry about. And Penguin gets caught against the building wall. Dragon Gamer will be able to pick them off with some very nice mechanics.
And
No mercy on that.
Croutons really holding the spawn advantage. Their door's right there, so every pick that they secure on Rush, is just that much more meaningful. As Rush then has to work all the way back to the point.
Very nice move there from the side of Carnage, gonna be sending the back line of Croutons all the way into the depths. This Dragon Gamer gonna be cleaning up the rest of Croutons into the spawn doors, and now they're gonna be finding it a little bit more difficult to get out with all that burst damage aimed at their faces.
Absolutely. And we see, Dragon Gamer already super close to their ultimate, ready to roll. And, Supernova on the Junkrat doing a great job of just keeping corners, just like we talked about, you just lob the fire. And there's the beautiful barrage to get
Dragon Gamer
up.
picks up two, will get picked off eventually by Guy Noob, the far counterpart. More damage comes through for them. They're trying to find any fix they can. Unknown Class is gonna be able to pick up Gumball. And the shields come through as well. It's not gonna be enough. Beautiful rocket from that Carnage gets him down to 20 HP. It will get cleaned up by Penguin though. And now eventually Rush will be forced around this corner as Croutons are gonna be able to find themselves in a lot more space.
Absolutely. And we talked about again, like how important every single pick is for the Croutons, because then, Rush having to walk all the way back just to recontest. But Croutons have to have simply maybe 30 feet to get back.
Very long distance. Barrage going to be able to pick up one, almost was able to pick up two. Dragon Gamer will eventually pick off Dynoob in return though. Croutons still have a very solid chance to push forward here.
And
Multiple
we see a few
ultimates on
ultimates from both sides coming online.
Bomb not able to find anybody. The resurrection Penguin doesn't come through. Dragon Gamer picks off two. Both supports down now for the side of Croutons, and they will once again be sent back to the spawn doors. A minute and a half left on the clock here. Multiple ultimates online for either team, and this is still anyone's game.
Absolutely. And, Rush doing a fantastic job of holding this. But Croutons were able to push it far enough that just one single team wipe could be all they need in order to get this first checkpoint.
As we mentioned, multiple ultimates online for either team. It'll just be who can use them better. Gumball taking a lot of damage, but has the pocket inside of Penguin, who has used the Valkyrie now. Immortality Field goes down as well, and there's not enough support to keep Gumball alive. The Flux comes through, cleans up two. Now we got 52 seconds left. Still a couple more fights. So Crouton's going to be opting to pull back here and try again.
Absolutely. And Rush still has three, almost four ultimates any second now. There it is. So they're able to really, fight using those four ultimates, definitely get that close hold. And Croutons really only have one coming back into this.
Penguin gets down low in the pharmacy 1v1. Supernova gets down low. I guess that would be a 2v2 in that one. Dragon Gamer gets down low as well. Biohazard to clean him up. Dragon Gamer goes down. The Valkyrie is going to be there trying to clean it up. Beautiful body block there from Zedekon to get that one through. Dragon Gamer is going to get resurrected. The Coalescence comes through for the side of Unknown Classes. The tire comes through as well. It's going to be blowing up Carnage once again. We're going to see that tire go immediately for Carnage's face. Ghost Dragon down to 6 HP, 54 HP will be above, trying to rain some fire down as Supernova is able to take out Gumball. And this is anyone's game here. Biohazard to pick off Supernova. Biohazard will be allowed to push forward here a little bit more, and the backline is trying to stay alive as long as possible. We see a Carnage ball swap here. He's going to get trapped. Will he get burst down? Damage enough. He gets down low. He will not be found though, as the support's doing a great job of keeping him alive. Biohazard is able to keep up. Unknown Class, and overtime is ticking down. This is the last fight for either of these teams. Biohazard still has the Transcendence here, and we could be seeing that used to great effect, as it will be Rush with one last hold.
And Carnage with a quick swap back to Sigma. We see both teams getting pick after pick, but Croutons really still able to keep pushing throughout all of it.
Gotta watch for that Dragon Gamer though. Oh no, he's down. Nobody's able to touch. The Transcendence has come through in time. And goodness gracious, Rush will take the victory. Oh man, you hate to see it. A little bit of a C9, but that's okay. I mean, realistically, the pressure coming in from Croutons was phenomenal at the end there, right? Like, we saw for so long that Rush held to the doors. They were able to, kind of return a favor of sorts for that first map, and it was just a little unlucky that they weren't able to touch in time. So we are going to be having a third map, I believe. Yes, we are. And Croutons. It'll be Croutons' pick. This game isn't over yet, and I do genuinely think that had they been able to touch there, we could have seen a different game, right? 1.2 meters away,
Absolutely.
just not quite able to keep pressure on the cart with the fear of Dragon Gamer standing there, and it just didn't happen. But One more map to go. The series ain't over yet, and I am still as excited as can be.
Oh yeah, 100%. And this is only our second, third map of the season, and so
True.
really excited to see what they bring out. Rush having a great showing through that map, but you know, Croutons just didn't get the chance to play, the comp that did so well the first round on attack, like you said, because they weren't able to touch. They just quite weren't able to get to the point where they can really play their comp to its strengths. So definitely think that they'll pick a map, and it's looking like they picked King's Row, which I think plays perfectly into
Let's
what they
go.
want to do. King's Row is my favorite map. Absolutely love it. Super excited to see what they bring out for this matchup. And honestly, I think it could go either way because
Oh,
Kingsman was so strong for the pharmacy, but yet so strong for a Reaper,
mhm.
especially. It could be amazing.
I no, I'm expecting this to be incredibly close, and I'm quite happy that Croutons decided to go with the all-time classic. The Oath fam knows that Kings Row is one to be reckoned with. In fact, it was the last map that we had in Ember versus Rush game last night. That was an incredible performance. And considering how close both of these teams have been, uh, even through the tried and true, how much Croutons has bounced back in the past few weeks. I will reiterate this once again. Croutons are looking much stronger than they ever did a
Mhm.
few weeks ago. And I'm incredibly proud to see that growth, and I'm incredibly happy to watch them put up massive competition against Rush. And now we're gonna see here on the penultimum of Oath maps, um, something that could be incredible, but I don't want to jinx it just yet. So into the match we go.
Absolutely, and I'm not expecting to see too many changes, if I'm being honest, especially from that last matchup. Carnage doing fantastic on the Sigma throughout it. Gumball doing great on the Diva. Biohazard with the Zen.
Mhm.
Dragon Gamer and Barty, of course, on the Pharmacy, just doing fantastic work. Um, so again, not expecting to see too many changes, but really looking forward to see how they play it out.
We've got a bit of a pause here, so it'll just take a few more minutes for us to swing back into action. However, I do want to go over uh unknown class on the side of Rush um has been an incredible and Biohazard. They've both been incredible Zenyatas. A matchup to witness here in either circumstance, right? Where you're seeing highly mechanical Zenyatas get headshots, get the picks they need, use Discord Orb to its full functionality,
Mhm.
allowing their teammates to follow up on certain targets. And it has been a marvel to witness, specifically Biohazard on the Zen, I believe last map was doing a great job of keeping Dragon Gamer off the backline. Even as Zenyatta, even with a projectile orb that doesn't really get there to the target nearly as quickly as you might want it to, that tracking was still great and still keeping Dragon Gamer a little bit fearful. So the pause is coming through now, and we will swinging right back into the map. Um, King's Row, very, very, very interesting. Always been a pleasure to watch and cast for as
Mhm.
it's got so many different lanes to go, right? The only caveat for the attackers on Kings Row is they must get through this first gate in order to advance onto the point. Past that, they've got multiple options. They can rotate through a hotel, they can go behind a statue, or they can rotate up to the apartments right above the point and have so many different opportunities of attack here.
Absolutely, but we see croutons coming out on the double hit scan. I think that's definitely a very smart play, especially with what they just saw from Dragon Gamer on the Pharah. Guy Noob and Ghost Dragon, Ash and Soldier definitely have proven in the past that they can do well on those hit scan characters, especially with the power boost from Penguin and the Discord from Biohazard. I think that's a lot of damage they can do. Hopefully, you get those early picks on Ghost Dragon. That might work in
Oh,
their favor.
immediately Biohazard is able to take out Dragon Gamer with I believe, a follow shot from Ghost Dragon as well. Sorry, I apologize. Dragon Gamer, Ghost Dragon. We got two dragons fighting head and head here on either side of the DPS, and it will be
Now they're
Rush
having
pushing
to
on the
wait on
statue.
their Pharah to get back into this fight.
Oh, They have a very nice spawn advantage, so they don't really need to wait. Dragon Gamer is already back. Once again, they're gonna be pushing onto this hotel. They're gonna be finding it very difficult to do though. Guy was able to pick off Dragon Gamer on the left-hand side, and Penguin forced back as well, trying to keep Gumball alive as long as possible. They're taking a lot of damage from Carnage from that Sigma. We have another disconnect. Dragon Gamer is gonna be picking up 2 on the support line. Ghost Dragon's able to pick up 1, and the fight continues on. Gumball eventually falls, and the pause is there.
But even being down a DPS, we see Rush still able, to get those kills and what looks like they potentially secured first point, but they've still got 3 ticks to go, which is a lot of time. Crouton's already on their way back, so there's still a chance they're able to keep holding. But they did a good job even with the fact they were down a DPS for the last 30 or so seconds.
True. They still found the picks they needed. Dragon Gamer was still running all over the place, finding the kills. I will say it's not uncommon to see these 4-minute holds here on first point. And if they wanted to recontest, which most teams don't usually, but if they wanted to recontest, they certainly could give it a shot. Ghost Dragon and Gumball both down now, so the spawns to sort of get Croutons back into the groove, have them regroup as a full team, have sort of taken a hit, right? It's going to take them 6 to 8 seconds to fully commit as a group to do so. But assuming they can take out Barty, the pharmacy combo, it could be
Mhm.
enough room for them to sort of recontest this point, as you were mentioning.
Yeah, and I think the further along this goes, the more difficult it's going to become to contest that pharmacy. So, they might make a couple changes in
Mhm.
terms of the Orisa, but I don't know, honestly. I think Orisa works great. I think Diva works great. This is such a tricky map in that terms because there's, all sorts of places to die from. There's all kinds of places to, get around, work around.
Mhm.
You talked about lanes earlier. I think in second point alone, there's 3 different ways to go around the payload in order to get
Yep.
different locations. And then another 2 ways up on a high ground to kind of flank around. So there's all kinds of all kinds of different directions that they can go to get flanks. We've seen Biohazard, with several amazing flanks. And then, Dragon Gamer able to stage up, wait patiently, and just jump into their whole backline, pick them up before they even know what happened. So,
Yep.
really exciting to see what they're gonna do from both sides as they move into this next bit. But it's tricky. It's still like you said, it's not over till it's over, and
Mm.
still anyone's game throughout that. And Rush looking really strong right now,
Mm.
but I think Croutons still have a really good chance, especially as it's later on with what they're playing. They've already shown they can get a lot of those early picks. I think
Mm.
just that huge spawn advantage really helped Rush to get through this first point. Like you said, after you get through that gate, it becomes a lot easier for you to get through and capture that point. But there's still a really good chance. I think that Croutons just keep contesting
Yep.
over and over again, and they can do a really good job.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree, and that is my motto. It ain't over till it's over. And Oath has shown exactly why multiple times. Um, I do agree on the Orisa. Like Orisa is very good. Don't get me wrong. Gumball has played her
Hmm.
very effectively. There is one way to help against Safara, though, that is better at doing that than an Orisa is, and that is Gumball's. Another good pick of Gumball's is that Diva, right, that we've seen played
Hmm.
so effectively. As long as you're able to sort of center out that Mercy, right, that's going to be keeping Dragon Gamer alive, or just do that much damage to Dragon Gamer, you're going to be finding a bit more success, right? And this is what Rush's centerpiece has always been. Unless Dragon Gamer and Barty are getting pressured out, it's going to be the pharmacy combo. It's going to be the pharmacy combo because it's very difficult to stop. But there are multiple changes that can be made here in order to sort of counteract this strategy. And I've really liked what Croutons has tried to do so far in bullying the brawl, not letting them get too far deep. But whenever you have somebody that's just going to be flying over your head, there's not a lot you can do other than be in the air with them. And to their credit, they did a decent job at uh countering Dragon Gamer's far within their pharmacy earlier, but
Hmm.
we're just kind of sort of uh, deciding on exactly what we want to counter. And I really think the biggest threat right now is Dragon Gamer and Barty's Pharmacy.
Yeah, I agree. And time and time again, these last few matches, it's shown how strong of a force it is. And even against Ember last week, doing really good, just picking up backlines. So it's a really strong combo, not just with Dragon Gamer and Barty, but throughout Overwatch right now.
Yep.
You've seen with the hit scan reductions and all kind the mercy buffs, it's become
Mhm.
really difficult. There are not too many characters that can easily counter Pharmacy in Overwatch right
Mhm.
now, and so I think that that has made it a lot harder on teams that don't really understand how to counter the Pharmacy, and we've seen but, Crouton's still able to learn from that. Like you
Right.
mentioned, they've become so much stronger in order
Right.
to fight that. Like, it's no longer just Pharmacy rolls over everything. Now
Right.
they've shown, pick after pick on the farm has really helped to kinda slow down that momentum and buy the rest of their team a bit more time.
No, I definitely agree, and I'm excited to see because we're only at our midway point, right? There's 8 weeks in the regular season of Oath, and then our ninth week is grand finals. We are at week 4, ladies and gentlemen. This is officially half season. This is the mid season. This is the time where you're gonna start seeing these teams sort of congeal and really become a unit because they've now spent a month plus, right? Because they had 2 weeks before then of actual practice of working together as a unit, of learning new skills, of learning different ways to play the game. And I think a stunning example of that growth that we've seen in the past few weeks is croutons, right?
Mhm.
To go over it again, right? Croutons was a team that in the first 2 weeks did struggle. There's there's very little other ways to really paint that, but we've seen this resurgence, right? They went 2-0 against Glitch last week, and they just had a map win against Rush, who was so close to beating Ember in their match last week as well. So there's a very, 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 very strong level of competition. And if if any team was going to make a comeback, uh, like what we've been seeing lately, I think Croutons is definitely the team as they've just sort of started to congeal and really find their strengths and weaknesses and have been executing on them greatly.
Oh, yeah. 100%, like they showed in the first point. They have done an excellent job of noticing where weaknesses in the enemy team is and within themselves and being able to really work around those in a way that, keeps their core strengths while also focusing on the other team's core weaknesses. And they
Mhm.
have shown that they can do a really great job of that. And, Rush has really had to work in order to adapt around that kind of like just the teamwork that they have been able to show on the side of the Croutons, working together. And Rush has really had to, show up with their own set of skills. We've seen Carnage several times, stepping in front as
Mhm.
the Sigma, letting that res get off before moving back.
Yep.
Sucking damage that could have killed the rest of their team. So Rush has really had to put it in a double overtime, in order to really work to counteract the showing that Croutons has brought out to the match today, and it looks like we're about to hop back into the game. Yeah,
Absolutely. Pause is coming down in 3, 2, 1, and we are ready to
here we
roll.
go.
Now, well, just to recap real quick, Rush has taken the first fight here and may very well be taking the first point. Guy named Travis coming for recontest gets picked off by Dragon Gamer, who's going to be overlooking the archway, and it looks like Croutons will be electing to sort of regroup here.
And Biohazard's still looking for the pick on the Dragon Gamer and getting very close with those orbs.
Absolutely, but we see ultimates online now for the side of Barrage as they've got Dragon Gamer's boss or Barrage, I apologize. Carlo's gonna be able to find the pick on the Carnage. He does get traded by Dragon Gamer. Dragon Gamer eventually goes down by Ghost Dragon of all people. Junkrat once again countering the fire. We've seen it before, we'll see it again. Supernova is able to pick off Guinan, but not before falling in Croutons and find a very clean fight win. Once again, able to hold in the archway.
Absolutely, and Gainu with the Bastion swap, already showing how powerful Bastion can be against a comp that's able to shut down the pharmacy and really work to bring out a lot of Sigma's abilities. I think that was a really smart pick.
Both supports down now from the side of Croutons. They get picked a little bit out of position. Dragon Gamer swimming behind the enemy and just finding the picks they need. Not quite as confident to push in there with that bash in the back line, but as you said, doing a great job of countering them. But it will be Rush once again pushing on the first and possibly second corner.
And we see Rush, being smart about it, like you said, not rushing anyone unnecessary, using their numbers advantage that they had going into that, and
Oh
playing safe.
my
But again,
goodness!
Dynup on the Bastion with that quick pick, it's almost unstoppable at times.
Transcendence comes in time to possibly stop the flux. No, it does not actually. It's gonna be half health for multiple people picking those down as well. Guy was able to pick up as well. Gumball is trading out with the bomb. Finds two. The coalescence comes in from the side of Unknown Class. Gonna be trying to put out any more DPS pressure, any more picks, but no. With the damage from Biohazard and Gumball combined, they will be finding another hold here, and not before Rush is able. Before Rush is able to get to the second point.
And a great play there from Gumball with the almost perfect bomb placement in order to push them off the cart, get those picks. And I think that was a really fantastic job. But also we have a couple ultimates coming online here for the Croutons.
Dragonhammer picks up Biohazard. That's the number one damage dealer to Dragonhammer so far, and that's the Discord orb down as well. Barty gets down low, but Dragonhammer's gonna be popping that barrage once again. Finds Skynoob, filling that ultimate so quickly, and now once again Rush will get the ability to push forward here. Gumball trying to stall it for as long as possible. Does get mech, but has the Valkyrie Mercy no longer there. Dragonhammer finds a very nice direct, and Rush will be capturing the second point with over 4 minutes to count down into the last one, and ultimates online for both teams.
We've got the two on the side of the Croutons with one more super close to coming online. But you Rush having two of their own. We've got the Valkyrie and then the Death Blossom, and Supernova has already shown what they can do with Death Blossom. So really excited to see what happens there.
Here it comes, going to be spread out all over the cart, and Biohazard's going to be able to pick off Dragonhammer with that little extra burst damage as well. Once again, Vardy goes down as well. The Pharmacy combo is officially annihilated, and it will be Supernova being the only one left. Activates Blossom, gets two. Not quite enough, though. Gainu, very nice direct in there. Supernova tried to go for the victory there. Not quite enough. As Carnage is able to pick up Gainu. And it is a 1v2. It's a 2v2 right now, actually, on the point. Gumball and Biohazard, the only two remaining, as Carnage gets down low once again. Transcendence comes through to keep Gumball alive long enough for the rest of the Croutons to sort of rejoin them. The bomb is not able to pick up anybody. Gumball gets the remake off. That's two ultimates now down for the side of Croutons, as Croutons going to be trying to regroup here.
Yeah, and it seems Croutons using both of those ultimates justify a little bit more time for their team.
Kind of getting picked off as the nice Valkyrie there from the side of Barty, going to be giving him plenty of damage boost there. Also combo with the flux as well. Carnage going to even find two. The tire comes in from the side of Ghost Dragon. Will it be able to pick up the video? Will it get popped? It will not. That's two down. Supernova and Carnage both go down. Ghost Dragon once again aiming for Carnage's face. Finds the pick, but Dragon Gamer in the spawn room now, still causing the enemy DPS some massive amounts of harm. Barty used the res to get Carnage back up, and now it is going to be the last fight here with 2.5 minutes on the clock. Penguin gets the resurrection on the Ghost Dragon, and now both teams are at full strength. Biohazard goes down first. Already down 1 HP, but not going to be able to pick up by Gainu. Carnage going to pick him off instead. Gumball is able to pick up Party, but no, he's able to touch. And that will be a 2.5 minute push for the side of Rush.
And a great rock there from Carnage to finish off he killed the Bastion, then spun around, rock to push the supports away from the point, buying them just that little bit of space they needed in order to secure that final cap on third point. But Croutons doing a great job there, working to counter the Pharmacy. I think the Bastion play was really
Yep.
great. Bastion being super strong, especially with that Mercy damage pocket on this map. But Rush just shown her to be really just the whole time just throwing it right in their face. Dragon Gamer with shot after shot into their backline, and then Carnage just being almost a seemingly unstoppable force in their front line. They're really having to split up and decide who they want to shoot at. And it's really difficult to decide when it feels like either choice is the wrong one. You shoot at one, and by the time that one's dead, the rest of their team has wiped out your team. So it's really tricky. And Rush doing a really good job of just playing the way their comp should be played. Splitting them up, so they really are able to find an opening and secure that value.
Yeah, absolutely. And I did like I hadn't seen Bastion be effectively a counter to Dragon Gamer. I know you've talked about it before here on broadcast, but it's not something I'd ever seen. But now I think I'm starting to understand. Gainu with that Mercy Pocket just becomes basically burst damage, right? And
Hmm.
so you're able to out damage the Mercy Pockets, and Dragon Gamer is not able to move quick enough to find that cover. Now we see them hiding up here in the hotel, waiting to pounce as Supernova gets down low, and Carnage is taking quite a bit of damage as well.
Waiting stealthily, trying to find an opening behind them to get a couple picks on their back line.
There it goes. Ghost Dragon goes down immediately as Dragon Gamer gets two very nice directs onto him. And 3.5 minutes here and counting for the side of Croutons as they still have Dragon Gamer in the back line causing a bit of issue.
And like we talked about the Bastion too, another thing is with that extra bit of armor and the 300 health total, makes Bastion be able to take a lot more hits than most DPS, giving them just a little bit more of a tankiness that they is often really useful in order to get past really important chokes like this.
Very smart attempt from the side of Croutons. They tried to regroup. They tried to wait for Dragon to try to dive again and pick him off. Unfortunately, he's just so good at getting out of that that he was able to escape. And now we're going to be seeing a spawn room hold here on the side of Croutons. The fight ain't over yet. It's 2.5 minutes, and Penguin has the Valkyrie and Biohazard almost at Transcendence. Ultimate's coming online for both of these teams, and it could be game time for the side of Croutons.
Absolutely, and Dragon Gamer just kind of staying up in their little hidey hole, jumping out just to get a couple picks on their back every now and then. Doing a really good job of it too.
Biohazard finds Shono clutch, even though we're down. The barrage feature as well is able to pick up kind of, but not before Biohazard is able to pick up Dragon Gamer as well. The DPS Zenyatta doing such a good job at finding the pick they need. The Carnage able to pick off Penguin. It's now a 2v1 on point, and Carnage doing such a great job of staying alive. Will Unknown Class be able to pick him up? Biohazard, I apologize, be able to pick him off again? Yes, he will, and that will be Croutons finding two picks here. This is going to be recontest time for the side of Rush. Those are actually comes from the side of Carnage. There will be a recondition here. Dragon Gamer gets down very low though. Won't get picked off. The bomb comes through. We'll be able to find two. Parties are able to both go down. Dragon Gamer able to pick off Carnage as well. And that recontest immediately shut down by a beautiful hold, by a beautiful push there, I apologize, from the side of Croutons. And that will be first point captured. 4 minutes on the clock.
What an amazing bomb! Saw it almost perfectly timed in order to get those picks, and then Gainu with the follow up on the Bastion to secure those last two, really winning in that fight, despite the fantastic pushback from Rush in order to try to counter there.
Now they're going to have a second chance at 3 minutes and 45 seconds to officially get around this corner. Once again, we see the DPS get... My goodness, Biohazard was ready regardless, able to pick off Supernova with the back. That was a very nice set of right clicks. And that will be the end of that sort of flank attempt, as now multiple ultimates online for both these teams still. Carlos trying to get down with Power as it gets down to one. Will he activate his continence? No, he won't. He'll actually be able to retreat and not die there. Gainu activates the Passion of it, but does get stunned out of it with a very nice rock out of Carnage. Great play there, but it will be Dragon Gamer actually picking up Gainu before Unknown Class able to escape the rest of their team. Penguin gets picked off as well, and what looks like a risk push there from the side of Rush is actually going to pay off dividends for them, as Biohazard is able to get a pick off the Dragon Gamer. But it will be Croutons trying to come up here, at least I thought. Never mind. Transcendence comes through. Gummo's going to be allowed to push forward here. Supernova gets picked off as well, and now it is an even fight, a 3v3.
And Biohazard keeping their team up the whole time while also doing that extra bit of damage, getting pick after pick, it seems, in order to keep the Croutons in this fight, just continuously pushing forward.
Gumbo able to pick up Unknown Class. It's going to be half the amount of heals available now for the side of Rush, but they have every ultimate online. 3 versus 6 ultimates online for others. The Flux comes through, but it is going to be followed up by the bomb. The Flux gets 2, the bomb gets 1. Dragon Gamer goes down. Carnage able to pick off Dino as a trade. And nobody's actually touching the point though. Supernova does get put down by Gumball, but not before Carnage is able to pick off 2. Penguin goes down as well as Gainu. And this is a struggle. This is a massive struggle for both these teams up here on the point. As Carnage taking in so much damage, but that Mercy Pocket doing so much. Carnage doing a great job of keeping him alive. His 5 ultimates still on the line for for the side of Rush. Ghost Dragon's able to take out Unknown Quest before they're able to use it though. The barrage might come through here for the side of Dragon, but there it is. It's able to pick off Combo, able to pick off nobody else before Biohazard once again shuts it down. The Signori's done an incredible job at keeping them far away, and that damage boosted Bastion not quite able to beat out the overclock there from the side of Supernova. Neither teams really want to give this up, but it will be Rush finally starting to get a foothold here, and a minute and a half left. Croutons won't be able to clean this one up.
Great hold from Rush there. We see ultimates coming from both sides, really just fighting to get that push all the way through. But we still have two remaining on each side, and almost 75% of the way there for Carnage to continue. So yeah, it's definitely probably going to see a few ults coming out here just to get Croutons just that little bit of space they need to keep pushing.
Absolutely, we're going to see multiple ultimates online. As you said, Biohazard has a transcendence there. Ghost Dragon has a tire. He's going to be looking for that Carnage pick once again. We've seen it multiple times today. Will they get there in time? Dragon Gamer actually picks off themselves, and that's a double pick. Carnage and Marty both go down. That's massive, and now that's going to be Crouton's absolute window to push through here. Biohazard's going to be able to pick off Unknown Class. Supernova dies on the point, trying to burn off any amount of time they can, and 30 seconds remain on the clock for about 2 minutes going to be remaining on the clock for Croutons to push their way in.
2 minutes exactly starting now, and it's looking like they've got a lot of time. They won't quite have as much time as Rush did, but we've seen time and time again, especially last week. Actually, we saw it go the full 3 points on either side and be decided in the last push.
And Bastion so much damage. Unknown Class goes down as well, and that's going to be so much damage. Dynamo goes down to 1, but we'll be activating the missiles to sort of keep everybody away. Gumbo's going to use in the bomb to find Party as well. The pulse comes from Carnage. Absolutely massive finds to make that through with the side of Dragon, but kind of the straight out Dragon as well. And now they seem really want to give this one up. A minute and a half left, and it is going to be Crouton struggling to clean this one up here. It will be Gumball being the only one remaining, but not before doing some serious damage to Rush's front line.
And finally, the pick on Gumball, securing the final kill. Croutons really having to slow down, regroup before pushing back in here. But Carnage, just seemingly unkillable throughout that with the pocket from Barty and the Moira heals from Unknown. We're seeing pick after pick from Biohazard. Now Guy Noob rushing in.
Transcendence comes through, going to be keeping the rest of the team alive as Gumbo's able to pick off Barty. Now both forward. Having had their falls here, multiple ultimates online for the side of Rush, though they could find a very solid hold here. The Transcendence not there to counter any of those ultimates. Guiding and Biohazard pick off 2 more as well, and Carnage gets picked off last. Only 6 seconds for him to get back, but he's the only one without an ultimate. 30 seconds remaining, and this is the last fight. Penguin's going to have to use that Valkyrie to full effect in order to get Croutons to the victory screen.
And I said Croutons needed to slow it down and regroup, but they proved me very, very wrong.
Oh. Dragon Gamer's able to pick up, Ghost Dragon's able to pick up Dragon Gamer. The Dragon fight has been successful inside the Ghost Dragon. No freeze there for them as Croutons get down to the very last minute. Ghost Dragon's death is able to pick off Supernova. The resurrection comes over the side of Party. Picks off Supernova as well. Dragon Gamer's the only one left with an ultimate. Carnage going to pick off Flux in just a second, but not before Dyna's able to find 2. Gumbo's able to find 1. The climb is coming down. The freeze comes through with absolutely massive. Dragon Gamer picks off both supports. It's just Gumball and Guy Noob left remaining. But oh my goodness, the boss is there. This is so close. 3.8 meters remaining. Dragon Gamer is able to live it. The beautiful pull in there from the side to come up. He's not able to pick it off. It's just kind of left on the point. Flux comes through. Overtime is ticking down. Will anybody be able to touch? No, they won't. They get blocked out by a Maywall, and that will be
No
Rush
way.
claiming victory.
What seemed like an easy cap for Croutons flipped around there by Rush.
I gotta breathe.
Yeah, absolutely speechless. Crazy plays.
Biohazard did such an amazing job this game. I mean, I've never seen a Zenyatta get so many picks, and yet he was doing it constantly. Like, okay, let me relax. Let me breathe. Let me get back into the Zen. So, I love Oath Kings Row. Anyways, it is with phenomenal showing of skill and just tenacity that Rush is going to be pulling ahead of Croutons this one. Croutons now are 1-3, but god dang was that close. God dang, could that have swung any other way? And I there is something about just the fire that I feel on Kings Row, and I feel like everybody feels like Kings Row, that
Mhm.
it's something so magical. And Croutons, you showed up to play today. You showed up to play last week. You guys have just gotten so much stronger. And I know Rush has beaten you once again, but god dang, was that incredible. Like I was losing it. My mind is melting. I'm actually kind of flabbergasted at just the absolute showing from both these teams. You know, we have unknown class on Rush and Biohazard. The Zen 101 going both ways from each other, and eventually unknown class being forced to swap up to the off onto the Moira. And I just saw so many good things this week. Especially from Croutons. I mean, Rush has been a solid team all season, but god dang, man, if that was not a game that mirrored the Ember versus Rush match last week, I don't know what is, and that was absolutely incredible.
No joke. And I wish I could see Biohazard's damage numbers right now because I guarantee you it rivaled the damage numbers of everyone else.
Yep. Oh
It
yeah,
was absolutely amazing.
without question. Who would have thought a Zenyatta was a far counter?
No
Um,
joke. And seemingly every fight, they had multiple picks.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely ridiculous. Great stuff from them. Rush, you played out of your mind. Um, it's very competitive in Oath right now, and I can't wait to see the rest of the season. That does conclude our mid-season matches, though. My name is Merp. I was joined by Imperium, and we will see you guys next week for a whole another host of exciting games.